Hey, what's up, YouTube? You already know it's AllCity Live TV, and thank you for tuning in. The Cronusmax. You guys really don't understand how this works. There's a game pack within the Cronusmax software that allows you to shoot all greens out there. So all you gotta do is really set your controller up through the options of Cronusmax, and it's a GG for anyone out there going against the Cronusmax. There's no badges that's going to be able to help you. There's nothing that's going to be able to assist you against someone using the Cronusmax. And what this means for 2K, it's really a sad state of affairs when people are like cheating to get greens. But what has led? Why hasn't this happened prior to 2K21? That's really what I want to get into. Why this hasn't happened? Why it wasn't that prominent before 2K21? For some reason, I gotta tell you how this kind of evolved, and y'all bear with me and let me know if you agree with me in the comment section below. But what's happened is that my career has gotten it's gotten a lot more difficult to play. I used to enjoy playing my career, but shooting this year in 2K21 had proved difficult for a lot of players out there. And it's always been a thing where it was like, and matter of fact, it's not even always, it just more recently, in recent years, become a thing where it felt like the devs were trying to play against the users. And bear with me when I'm saying this, please just take a second and hear me out. It feels like when you're playing my career, when there's not to say anything about like online game modes, but just think about for a second when you're playing my career. 1 second. You go into my career, let's say you beat one defender off of the dribble. You got another defender leaving his opponent wide open to come guard you. Or if you get takeover, you're instantly getting double teamed. Why is that? Why would the developers allow you to get an incentive like takeover, but that incentive is lost because you got double teams coming your way, triple teams, quadruple teams. The computers, the AIs will leave their opponents there wide open to double team you as a user. And if you're out there trying to get shooting badges, how difficult is that? And I'm not saying my career is super difficult. There's ways around the developers, whatever the developers had choose to like program into the game. But it's unfortunate when you as a user get so frustrated because my career is not an enjoyable experience for me, at least. I don't know if it's an enjoyable experience for you, but I don't like having to hustle so hard to kind of get a wide open shot or just run the same redundant routine to get your wide open shot. Whether you're stepping back, pulling up and stepping back, or whether you're going to the corner calling for a screen or quick isolation and then coming out and shooting the rock. So we know our way around it as users to get some shots up, but it's quite annoying when you can't just go out there and play ball like you would want to go out there and play ball. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because this is what kind of brings Cronusmax into the game, because you're like, man, it's so annoying to play these games that you're trying to grind badges out so you can compete online against other users, but it doesn't feel rewarding. So the user in turn goes to seek out something else to help him like feel like feel good about himself. The user goes out there and seeks out Cronusmax. And Cronusmax is going to be a game changer for 2K. Now, the reason why it's become so prominent in 2K21 is because the developers said, well, we're gonna make shooting a lot more difficult for you guys. And the developers don't seem to understand that you're not gonna beat the community. This is why you should have always considered the fun factor. That should have been your main priority, because if you kept the users having fun as opposed to going up against the users or the 2K community or your consumers, then you would have not had so many people seeking out alternatives so that way they could enjoy the game. And that's what's the problem with 2K. 2K is limiting our incentives, limiting the fun factor when we play the game. If they focus more on they have a whole brand new beautiful neighborhood, but unfortunately the neighborhoods are empty. You're unable to matchmake. And now, not to mention, you go into Pro-Am, you make it to Pro. We're Pro-Am team. We make it to Pro and now we're unable to get games. Every incentive is met with a brick wall in 2K, and that seems to be a huge problem. Every incentive is minimized by 2K. So when you minimize incentives consistently throughout your gameplay, you're like, hold on a second, what is going on? And there's users out there that say, you know what, I'm gonna make sure that I increase my incentives out there, and I'm gonna seek out a whole new cheating device that'll allow me to green every shot, because 2K said, no, you're not greening your shots out there this year. 2K said, no, if you're a playmaker, you're not catching no ankle breakers this year. So like it's so you're forcing this issue. 2K's gameplay mechanics is forcing users to go seek out, now to each their own. Now I understand the argument where people are like, well, that's a user issue. Users will go out there, because I'm not one that'll go out there and cheat, and a lot of players feel that way. I'm not one that'll go out there and find a cheating device. But then again, you're like, but I'm not really enjoying 2K. I'm not really I grind my badges out, as tough a grind as it was in my career. You're thinking, well, I should come out to the park and at least hit my open shots. That's what you're thinking, I'm sure. You grinded Hall of Fame range extender, Hall of Fame high zone hunter, Hall of Fame green machine, and you miss a wide open shot. This is where 2K gets lost in the mix. It's because one, open shot should be heavily boosted up. Like, you should make sure that if you have grinded out Hall of Fame badges, or at least 2K should make sure, if you have grinded out Hall of Fame badges, you shouldn't be missing wide open shots. You're a Hall of Fame shooter. So why would you miss wide open shots, especially with a high amount of 3-point attributes or a high amount of mid-range attributes? You're thinking you should not miss wide open shots, but it happens in 2K. You're wide open and you're selling games out there, you're missing shots, and you feel like it has nothing to do with timing. You feel like you've done everything you needed to do to make sure that you can compete in 2K, but 2K doesn't reward those efforts. And being that 2K doesn't reward those efforts, you got players out there seeking out devices like the Cronusmax. And now the Cronusmax is gonna take 2K by storm. And how do we alleviate that? Do we as players band together and go out into the community with full force and say it's gonna be us against the cheaters? I don't think so. I don't think so, because 2K doesn't give us enough incentives to play the game. Let alone if you intend to get 2K21 for next gen consoles, what are you playing 2K21 on current gen for? If you're not grinding rep, where is the incentive to play? If you know 2K21 for next gen is gonna be a completely different game, why are you playing 2K21 for current gen? I know we all have a love and affinity for basketball in itself, which is why we play and live vicariously through NBA 2K games. But unfortunately, when you as a user feel like you're playing against a dev, because very often I feel like I'm playing against a developer out there as opposed to playing against the competition. I feel like 2K likes to get way too involved in what's going on, and we don't necessarily play with the mechanics that we have in front of us, or the mechanics that we have in front of us don't necessarily translate to our gameplay. At least that's been my experience. If that's been your experience, you let me know in the comment section below. I have been personally having fun with my particular build, but it's not fun to see my shooters, to see the people that I'm playing with struggle with shooting when I know they've done their grind and due diligence and put in so much effort to make sure that they shoot good in 2K21, and it hasn't been the case. But yet we'll come across somebody with less amount of badges, less amount of shooting attributes, they put in less grind, they put in less effort, but they're able to shoot way better. That should never be the case, and I think that was an issue that 2K should have made sure they addressed. And now they're gonna suffer the wrath of the 2K community, and a good portion of that community using Cronusmax to green their shots, and that's gonna eliminate the player base, at least in my opinion. You guys let me know what you think is gonna happen when you come across a user playing with the Cronusmax. This is not something new, y'all. This is not something that we haven't experienced. If you're a Call of Duty player or a FPS type of player out there, you've experienced somebody using aimbots and things like that. So this is not something new to the gaming community, but it's fairly new to 2K players out there, and it's going to take us by storm. I don't know if this is gonna work on next gen consoles. Like, very soon we'll find out if it's gonna be on next gen consoles, but right now it's encouraging and it's gonna spread like wildfire. All content creators are talking about modded controllers and Cronusmax on 2K, and it's about to be a GG, man, because the more that users come across players using Cronusmax, because 2K made it so difficult for other shooters to shoot out there this year, it's gonna be very noticeable when somebody's completely greening their shots. And they're smart. They're like really smart, because they don't want to get reported. They're taking off their shot feedback, so you can't even see that the shot is green anymore. So you're not gonna be seeing them greening all over the place. They're just gonna know that their field goal percentage has skyrocketed. You know, neither here nor there. We gotta find out what's gonna happen. Is the 2K community gonna take a stand and go against the cheaters, or is Cronusmax users and players gonna just dominate and take over NBA 2K on consoles? Is it gonna turn into a whole PC universe for 2K21? But I'm definitely gonna be live streaming so we can come across all of these Cronusmax users out there. We came across one yesterday. It was super fishy. It was hella noticeable that he was hitting every shot, and it's just like, man, when you see those players, do you keep playing? So if you guys are new to the channel, please consider hitting that like button. If you enjoyed this video, found it helpful and or informative, please consider subscribing to our channel, as we're gonna have a ton of NBA 2K21 content coming your way. I'll catch you guys on the next video.